Welcome to Lab 9, Configuring IP Settings. Before we begin with Lab 9, we may want to make changes to our virtual machines virtual network. Go into Edit in VMware Workstation. Go to the Virtual Network Editor. Select NAT. And what we're going to want to configure is the DNS that our DHCP server is giving out. NAT settings and DNS settings. So you want to actually uncheck the auto detect available DNS, and we're going to put in our own. So our first DNS server will be the IP address of your server A workstation. So the address that you gave your server A workstation, which is running a DNS server. That has the entry for our domain. The alternate DNS server, I put in the VMware DNS, the one that it created when it first set up VMware. If you notice, it's the same as the gateway address. They both use the same address. So if you're not sure what number to put in here, it's the same as the gateway address. We'll go ahead and set that. To do Lab 9, you want to have your Server 2012 Server A and your Windows 8.1 Client B virtual machines. Log into Client B with the domain admin account or ADatum. Right-click the Start button, select Command Prompt Admin, so you get the Administrator command prompt. Type ipconfig, press Enter. This will list your IP address settings. And then you can answer question 1. What is the IPv4 address and subnet mask assigned to the computer? So mine's listed under Ethernet 0. You may notice more Ethernet adapters is installed. When we set up Hyper-V, it added another adapter. So in question 1, it asks you IPv4 address and subnet mask. Those will be listed under Ethernet 0 here. This the IPv4 address is 192.168.20.146, and the subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. To answer question 2, what is the IPv6 address? My IPv6 address is listed under Ethernet 0. In the second line down, this number after the colon. Your machine will be different, because your address is likely different. I'm going to right click on the network status icon in the bottom right hand corner, select Open Network and Sharing Center. Select Change Adapter Settings. If you have Hyper-V installed, you'll see more than one. The one that's listed as an Intel adapter and has the adatem.com domain associated with it will be the one we want to select to get the properties from. So right click and go to Properties. Scroll down to IP Protocol version 4. Double click on it. Then they want you to change both of these settings to obtain automatically. So change the IP address to obtain automatically and change the DNS to obtain automatically. Select Go back to the command prompt. And run ipconfig. This time we're going to do /all. So you can see the settings. Then answer question 3. By looking at the response from ipconfig, what is the address assigned to the workstation by DHCP server, and what is the address of the DHCP server? So the address it picked up is this one. The address of the DHCP server is this one. Then close the command prompt window. Right-click the Ethernet connection again. Select Status. Then click Details. And this should show you the same information that was on the ipconfig/all command. Close. Select Properties. Scroll down to IPv4. Double click. And they have you set the IP address. So we'll still want to have the address information from here. So the book in step 17 has you put in a particular number for your IP address. Because we're using NAT, we're going to be using an internal address different from the one that the book has. So you'll want to use the same address that DHCP gave your virtual machine. For the DNS server, we'll actually want to use the IP address of our server. If you want to put in the alternate for the VMware DNS, you can do that. We want to try to put our order so that our DNS server we set up for our domain is first in the order. Without the second one, you won't be able to access the internet. So after you put the settings in, they want you to take a screenshot of the properties dialog box. So the window that's open now. Put the screenshot into your lab worksheet. Click OK to close. Click OK. Click close. And close the network connections window. And then remain logged in for the next exercise. Exercise 9.2, testing the network connections. So on client B, right-click the Start menu, select the Command Prompt Admin, and then ping the loopback address 127.0.0.1. Press enter, and you'll see the pings with the reply. Answer question 4. What is the result of executing ping 127.0.0.1? These are the acceptable results. Question 5. What does the result prove about the computer's network connectivity? Question 6. What would be the result if you unplugged your computer's network cable before executing the ping 127.0.0.1 command? Now they want you to ping your server A. press enter. I've added a name record to my DNS for server A, so that when I ping with that name, it actually resolves correctly. Question 7, what is the result of executing a ping server A, and what does it prove? So we actually did get a reply back from server A. It was able to correctly resolve the IP address and reply back. So we do have a connection to server A. At the command prompt, execute the following command, nslookup server A. nslookup was able to return the result for server A. Question 8, what is the IP address of server A? So your IP address will be different, but it'll be listed in the same manner. Take a screenshot of the command prompt window and paste it into your lab worksheet. And close the command prompt. Although I don't grade the lab challenge, just so somebody can see how you would do it. Run the command prompt as admin. The first setting, they would want you to put the command in for setting an IP address, subnet mask, and default gateway. In your book on page 198 at the top, it actually gives you the command that you would use. Net sh interface IPv4 set address, and then the name of your connection. Mine is Ethernet 0. Static, if you want to set a static address. And the address. So in the example they have in the book, they're using a different IP addressing scheme. I'm going to change it to match the address for my virtual environment. I want to look up what my current address is and use that one. That way NAT will continue to function after I change the address. Then the subnet mask. Then the default gateway. This is just another way of configuring IP. However, this method uses the command line. But it'll set the same settings that we configured in the network adapter for IPv4. The DNS and DHCP are set using separate commands. So this would be the first command to type to set the IP address. Subnet and default gateway. And the spelling error. I'm going to open a new command window because I still need some information from the old one. So you'll see that it does not have DHCP enabled anymore, but it still has the address that I want. So the address that I just configured. So now I have a static address again. But you notice I don't have an internet connection anymore because I have not set yet the DNS. This is just to show you the settings that are currently set. So the following IP address is set. Now to set the primary DNS. NetSH interface IPv4 set DNS servers the connection name static and then the DNS address. Let's set the DNS. Now to change them back to using DHCP. NSH interface. IPv4. Set address. Name. Equals Ethernet 0 in my case. Space. Source equals DHCP. Now when I do ipconfig, you can see that DHCP is enabled. And I got a new address. Most techs use the visual interface instead of the command line. But it's just another way of doing the same thing. So now you see we're connected again. Just showing you that it actually did change it back here as well. And that's it for Lab 9.